2013 to 2019, Amy Riley Frank was assigned to the U.S. military to advocate for victims of sexual crimes in the military. When she gathered up everything that she was looking at, all the data, all the incidences, she turned around and brought it to the command structure. And when she brought all of this to them, they suspended her. According to The Intercept, before her suspension, Riley Frank worked as a victim advocate with the U.S. Army Reserve's Illinois-based 416th Theater Engineer Command. She discovered that the unit had mishandled sexual assault complaints for years and accused the unit's commander of improperly operating internal investigations, sexual assault complaints, rather than referring them for criminal investigations. As a result of this, she did a lengthy interview with The Intercept. The military is its own society, as stated by Justice William Rehnquist, and those that speak outside the approved narrative are shunned. Secretary Austin needs to know that Commander's willful blindness and retaliation in direct violation of his commitment to reform. My case embodies all facets of why the program is failing, a dereliction of duties by commanders, and willful violation of federal law with no oversight or accountability. One of the suggestions that has been made, something that's been pushed for some time, is to take sexual assault cases in the military, take them outside the military judicial system, and place them in a civilian court. Now, they advocate for this because these sexual assaults keep getting covered up inside of the military or just ignored and not taken seriously. Although this is a move that has been rejected for some time by the military for obvious reasons. Sexual assault in the military is a widespread problem that has been so since female integration. Last year, 20-year-old Army Specialist Vanessa Gilman of the Fort Hood disappeared and was found murdered. The murder made national attention of the ongoing problems of sexual assault in the military. An investigation was done into the conduct of officers, and the results were shocking. The command climate relative to the sexual harassment/assault response and prevention program at Fort Hood was ineffective, to the extent that there was a permissive environment for sexual assault and sexual harassment. As a result, in July, the Biden administration created the Independent Review Commission on Military Sexual Assaults and gave recommendations to remove the investigation and procedure of sexual assaults from the chain of command and into a highly specialized unit to handle such cases. In other words, take it out of the hands of the people who are supposed to be doing this and are not doing their job, and placing it in the hands of those who will do the job, because the higher-ups are busy essentially covering up what has been going on. So it's unlikely that the military will handle the sexual assaults inside their own organization, and very clearly they are not doing that right now. And victims, not just women, but men have been very huge victims. There's actually a great deal of male-on-male sexual violence inside of the military, and it is not being addressed whatsoever. In fact, every time this comes up, the military just ignores it. It makes them look bad, so they just pretend it's not there rather than dealing with the problem. Just like the long history of domestic terrorists coming out of the U.S. military, the amount of white supremacists that are in the U.S. military using its training and then going back into the public to teach others those same skills, which is actually a violation of a lot of the paperwork that they signed, but I digress. So we very clearly see that this huge problem is not being addressed by the higher-ups. So if they're not going to do it, then you take it out of their hands and you put it in the hands of people who will address the problem. Although I would advocate in general that nobody join the military at all, because it's, the world police force, a military occupying force. Nobody should be a part of it anyway. This should just give you another reason not to be a part of it, period. But I can't help but wonder, if it's this bad for women inside the military, imagine how bad it is for the women in the occupied countries. Imagine how bad it's been for Iraqi women or Afghan women that the U.S. military, how bad they've been treated since the U.S. military occupied thing. Well, we saw how bad it was when the U.S. military occupied Vietnam. They practically turned the entire country into a brothel. So just imagine the horror that these women are going through as a result of the U.S. military and its essential a cult. I mean, the U.S. military is, for all intents and purposes, a cult of the self. Anything that's a threat to the military is considered something that should be exterminated and destroyed. That is the mentality of the military. And even if that threat is something that just makes the military look bad, they're not one of us, not, in this case, let's say one of the boys, then that has to be gotten rid of. Rather than acknowledging a systemic problem within that system, they treat the symptom of the problem as some kind of invading force that needs to be combated. Because that is the mentality of the military, and it's not all that different from the police. We are the great thin line between what is an evil communist takeover of the world and freedom and democracy. Frankly, anybody even still believing that after all these decades is frankly foolish and, well, in my opinion, straight up dumb. But that's the mentality. That's the one you're dealing with. The same thing with the police. Well, if it wasn't for us, everything would be complete anarchy, and not the good anarchy like in, like Spain and whatnot, and the bad anarchy as in just complete and total chaos. But that's the mentality, and that's the mentality that has to be fought. And I'm reminded of a quote by Mao. It might have actually been Lin Biao, but I'm pretty sure it was Mao. He said, "A military without a political education is a war crime waiting to happen." Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.